Alright guys, welcome back. Last time we were looking at some Z9 filters and we were looking at the Ryco Z9, and when we were looking under the media under the microscope, we found that there was lots of quite large holes in the media which would have let a lot of stuff through and not filtered very well at all. Which makes me a little bit worried because here in Australia this Ryco brand is like the standard, I suppose. You walk into any automotive shop and you'll be able to find one, and they're generally trusted as good quality. So I bought a second Ryco filter, a different part number, and we're going to have a look at this. I'm going to do a little bit of a different style video where I show you what I'm actually doing, like cutting it open and looking under the microscope, so I can prove that if this one has got holes in it, then I'm not faking it. I've got the receipt here, super cheap. It shows that I bought the filter Z154. So you know, it's not a dodgy eBay one or whatever, it's a genuine thing from a dealer. And see if this one's got holes in it or not, or whether that one's just a one-off. This one is, as you can see, in a limited edition box and styling. I had the other ones in the standard sort of style box on the shelf, but I got this one because I know that this is the latest model. Like the other ones are old stock, so this is the latest one. So it doesn't look like a standard filter, but it's the same filter on the inside, just different styling. So we'll start with the box. It's a pretty cool looking box. Vintage spin-on filter and replacement cartridges. First manufactured in 1936. All types of everything, and you can expect the best from a Ryco. Just what people have always thought, and so hopefully this will put to rest whether that is the case or not. Limited edition spin-on filter commemorates our decades of long history as the most trusted filter brand in Australia and New Zealand. You can expect the best from the Ryco again. So let's hope that they live up to their advertising, and that this one has not got holes in it. Made in China to Ryco specifications. These limited edition ones actually come with a cool little service sticker. Rycos normally don't. But that's cool. Not really important though. And then they got the vintage styling on the filter as well. As you can see, mate, the Rycos are normally like this. You got the cool vintage. Limited edition with the instructions. Take code. Nice plastic cover, which is good. As we've seen before, a lot of the Ryco filters certainly appear to be well made on the outside. Can't get the cover off. Yep. Looks like this particular one doesn't have any oil on the gasket like the Ryco did, but that's all good. Something should be able to do anyway. So it sits in there pretty well. Nice feeling rubber gasket. Sits in there well and sits a nice level above the top. So that's pretty good. Alright, we'll go and get this cut open, and as I said, I'm going to show you what I do to actually get this cut open to show that I'm not damaging the media or anything by doing it. And we'll come back and have a look at what we got here. Alright guys, so we're outside because this can sometimes put little metal shavings down in the carpet and stuff, but essentially we don't use a grinder because that can damage what's in there, but I just use a pair of old tin snips. Cut a edge, can take a little bit to get going. I like to get a filter cutter one day, but at the moment this is how I cut them. It does work, you know, pretty well. So got a bit of a lip there. Just getting it started. It's there we go. You see now I've got that edge cut there. And once that's done, they come apart pretty easy. It's like a can. It's not necessarily the easiest, but I found it to be the most effective way to open it without damaging the filter internals, without a special tool. As you can see, that's now open, and it's certainly not going to damage the internal element. Right, so back inside now. So we're going to cut open. In terms of the base plate, you know, standard decent thickness there, good amount of holes in that for the size of it. Threads, I got about 4, so that's good. There's a tiny little metal shaving there though that I don't believe is mine, or might be mine. Yeah, I think it is mine, don't worry about that. So that's good, like nothing super special or anything, but yeah, we've got our silicon anti-drain back valve, and this looks a lot more like, a quick look at that. This is a Ryco Z9. Grab Z432 ST. I'll leave for that thing. It looks more like, the colour of it is a lot more like the one out of the Syntec filter. But anyway, seems fairly good. A little bit thicker than the Z9, so that's pretty good. And what do we got here? Oh, before I look at that, how does our drain back valve? It sits quite loose on there. I've got a feeling it's quite nice and tight on there because it's got a top sealing ring and a coil spring that is going to seal pretty well on there. So that's good. As I said, we've got our coil spring. It's quite small but decent for the application. It's got a nice little divot to sit in there, and on the bottom, nice little divot too. So, in terms of the can, English there. Z154.5, which is good. Decent standard thickness. One thing I noticed, not sure if you guys can see unless I zoom in. There's a terrible amount of dust on the top of that filter, but that is on the dirty side of the filter, so it doesn't particularly matter that much. Just quite lightweight. Once again, it's got the same sort of cage as the ST filter rather than the Z9. See that we got the sort of the thin, sort of stainless looking sort of thing. So apart from that, looks decent, got metal end caps. This particular filter doesn't have a bypass valve. You can see down there, there's nothing there. That's a possibility why this one's quite cheap. This is only like $10. The applications that it's for must have bypass valve built into the filter head, I would say. Now, got nice even pleats all the way around. Decent amount of glue. Now, normally I would just go ahead and cut out all the filter media, but I know that sometimes, because you just cut it around the edge and then pull it out, but that can stress it a little bit. So what I'm going to do, and I'll do it on camera again, I'm just going to cut one of these pleats first. It's fully cut. Okay, and you can see that I haven't pulled or stressed that in any way. So I got it there, the filter media in question. What we're going to do, see, I've just cut it out of there. What we're going to do is I'll set it up on the microscope, and then I will show you my setup and what we've got going on, and we'll have a look at it. Alright guys, so you can see my setup here. I had to cut the filter media out and take a bigger sample, as you can see, because the little one didn't fit under the microscope arms. So as you can see, I just got the element out of that filter. So it's just a little microscope. I got it on the smallest lens, which means it's times 50 magnification. Just a light shining under there, it's all set up. You see the media there. Now I'll put you down on top. Okay guys, so you've seen what I see there now, and to me it looks like there is some really bright spots on the camera there. Doesn't seem to be quite as clear as the Z9 one. But there's certainly some very bright spots. It's normally, obviously, if there's a hole, the light shines through on the microscope a lot brighter and you can just see the light. So there's either holes or some very thin spots in the filter media that could let things through. So I'll keep on looking into this, but there is a second filter which shows that it's got some bright spots in the filter media. But moving on from that, we got about 1.8 meters media in there by 53 mil. So it's not bad for the size filter that it is. The other thing that I noticed yet again, same as on the Z9, we had this issue. You can see here that was cut almost all the way through, and it had only the tiniest little bit holding it on. See, just like that. Instead, when I pulled it out of just breaking that little bit of paper that was there, the tiny little bit of glue that it had has broken. And you see there's hardly none there where that was on, and that's come apart under the high pressure of today's modern engines. That would most certainly have come undone. Your oil would just be going down there and up through there. And that's certainly not what you want. This core is very lightweight compared to the Z9. You see it's very bending that. Probably just, pull that right off. Just held in by a little bit of glue there. Good crimped centre seam. But this is very lightweight, and this centre tube is actually reminding me a little bit of the Super Cheap brand one. Got the very thin metal end caps and the very thin centre, where it's only just, that's glued on a lot better than that was. So I was hoping that this filter here would just be just good and not have any issues, that it would have a good amount of glue and nice decent dense media that you could not see any bright spots through. But unfortunately that's not the case. So I've got two in a row now from Ryco that have had these two both exact same issues. The Syntec doesn't seem to be plagued by these issues. It seems to be put a bit more effort in. Obviously got a different media, and the glue seems to have a fair bit more in there, but so that's what that is. There's two in a row now from Ryco that have had two of the same issues. So as I said, I'm a little bit surprised by that, as this is generally the trusted Australian brand. As I saw on the Z9, I think the Fleet Guard's probably a little bit of a safer option. But I'll continue to look into this. I'll do a little bit more research and that about this media and looking at it under the microscope, see what I can do. Might possibly talk to Ryco about it, we'll see. So there you have it. There's certainly not just a one-off with this filter. There's certainly something interesting going on. So there you have it. There's a Z154 Ryco.